Attack the vulnerable point, part 6. Okay, um, so we can have a look at this position. Okay, and search for vulnerabilities. There could be hidden vulnerabilities also. Okay, here we can see the bishop on b7 is not protected. Okay, so this could be a potential weakness. Okay, so here we can target this, and also this knight could be attacked anytime with this pawn push. So we have a chance to push the pawn, so that opens this diagonal. Okay, not only opens this diagonal, it also opens the other diagonal, the h1 to a8 diagonal also. So we can play knight to g5, very strong move. So setting a attack here. So our threat is we are going to play e5. So once we play e5, you can see the bishop will be lost. Okay, for example, yeah, let's say they make some random moves like this. We can play e5, and you can see we have mate if they move the knight, and we can take the bishop. Okay, so they try to defend with g6. Okay, so g6 solves this problem, but it creates some weakness on the dark squares. You can see the dark squares are getting weaker now. Okay, and we have the dark square bishop, so we can try to attack this diagonal. Okay, so this diagonal is going to be more vulnerable now, because since they weakened the pawn on g7, so white should continue with d5, very strong attack. Okay, opening the diagonal and also attacking the e6. So let's say they capture ed5, we recapture with the pawn, d6 is one threat. Also you can see the mobility, they don't have much mobility, this bishop mainly. So d6 is coming anytime. So they went knight g4. Okay, knight g4. Now you can calculate how can we exploit this weakness, the diagonal weakness. Oh, see, weakness is there, so it's exposed to attack, so we have to attack here. So d6 is too strong, so attacking the b7 bishop and the e7 bishop. So the best move here is bishop g5. Other moves are not so good. For instance, if they take on g2, we can win the bishop. Okay, so we get a free piece here, because they won't be able to trade the queen. If they first take, we'll just take on f8, check. So we win more pieces. And if they take, we can play queen c3, trying to enter there. So queen c3 is important because this knight is hanging. So once they play pawn to f6, now we can take take king g2. This is one easy win. The diagonal is also exposed. See, so very strong. So d6 is very strong. So knight g4. Okay, for knight g4 we can go d6, and for d6 they have to take on g5. Okay, so we need to take back, and we don't want to worry about losing the rook, because once the dark square bishop is lost, we can get strong attack. I mean, we can create strong attack in the diagonal. Okay, so we can take on b7, very strong. So let's say they capture on c1, and we can recapture with the rook. Okay, the rook is hanging on c8. So let's say they move. Okay, now if we play queen c3, they are going to block the diagonal. Normally, if we play queen c3, they are going to play pawn push. Okay, so they will block. So what we can do is we can bring the bishop to d5. This is one very important point for the bishop. So pinning the f7 pawn. So now once the f7 pawn is pinned, you can see there's a threat of queen c3. So they won't be able to defend the diagonal. So bd5 is too strong. So let's see, we go back and we can increase the pressure on the diagonal. So queen to c3. So king g7. Okay, so we need to attack this diagonal. And one thing we can do, like technically we can play pawn to d7. This breaks the coordination. So the queen won't be able to get to d6, and this pawn is quite strong, and we have enough time to play a g4 or rook e1. So many threats we have. Okay, okay. But in the game, they played g4 directly, trying to exploit this weakness. Okay. So g4, g5, because if they take queen d5, I mean queen d6, we can go g5. So this is strong. So let's say they try to stop it. Okay, now we need to increase the control over the g5. We can do it with h4. Also d7 is possible anytime. Okay, so let's say we go h4, queen d6, g5 is there. Okay, let's try the other options also. So for g5, for g4, let's say they try to block it like this. So now we want to go g5, so we can try h4 attacking. Okay, so let's say they take on h4. Now we can push, and they take on d6. Okay, so now the question is, should we take on f6 with the queen, or should we wait here? We can think for a moment. Okay, queen f6 is very strong, but we want the bishop to get there. You see, this is a very strong piece coordination. Queen goes to f3. So now actually we want to take with the bishop. So these squares will become exposed to attack, and we can mate quickly. So let's say they play rook e8, we can capture with the bishop. The king has to go to g8. Okay, now how to continue the attack? Okay, we have a chance to play bishop f7, but see, bishop f7 is also quite strong. Like we can expose the king and then win the queen with the discovery. And this is strong, but we don't want to win materials. We directly want to go for the king. So queen h5 is more strong, ignoring the attack on d5, because if queen captures, we can go queen h6 and it's over. There's no defense for the g7 point. So already queen f7 is threatened and queen h6 is threatened. And if they try to defend with queen f8, can you see what is coming here? You can think for a moment. We need to reach the king. Okay, the queen is quite overloaded. It's defending both the g7 and f7. Okay, we need to open more lines to reach the king. So g6, too strong, and it's over. After g6, there's no defense at all. Okay, because if they take with hg6, we have queen h8, mate, and the f7 pawn is pinned, so it can't help. And if they make any moves like h6, we can just take with the pawn. Okay, check, and that clears this line too. So if king goes to h7, then queen f5. It's a beautiful finish. Okay, queen f5 check. Okay, so you can see the vulnerabilities in the game. So we'll see more ideas related to this in the next upcoming session. Thank you.